I'm Garrett, and back then I was working the night shift at this old bowling alley called Sunset Lanes. The place was pretty run down, but they paid me decent money to basically babysit the building from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Most nights were boring as hell. I'd just sweep the lanes, reset some pins, and watch Netflix on my phone. The extra cash helped with my student loans, so I didn't complain much. It was a Tuesday in October when things got weird. I remember because my girlfriend had texted me earlier about her mum's birthday party that weekend. Anyway, I was cleaning up the manager's office when I knocked over this stack of papers behind his desk. When I bent down to pick them up, I found these manila folders mixed in with regular paperwork. Most were injury reports from the past few months. Nothing too crazy, people slipping, twisted ankles, that kind of stuff. But then I saw this one folder that was thicker than the others. Inside was a handwritten note that just said, Pinsetter Jam, Lane 12, with a date from 2 weeks ago. Below that was a photograph. The picture showed a pair of work boots and this dark stain under one of the pin machines. The injury report stapled to it had accident stamped in red letters and a box checked that said settled. That's when I remembered something. 2 weeks ago, there was this maintenance guy who came in during my shift to fix lane 12. Nice enough dude, maybe in his 50s. He worked on that machine for like an hour while I restocked the snack bar. I decided to check the security footage from that night. We had cameras everywhere, and I knew the password because my manager was terrible at keeping secrets. When I pulled up October 15th, everything looked normal until around 2:30 a.m. Then the timestamp just jumped to 2:42 a.m., 12 minutes missing. The next day I asked my manager about the maintenance guy. He got this look on his face and told me the guy quit without notice. When I mentioned the folders, he went quiet for a long time. Then he said something that still gives me chills. Garrett, your job is to smile, sweep, and keep your mouth shut. Nothing else. I started paying attention after that. Every few weeks, someone would get hurt. Always minor stuff on paper, but there were always these little payoffs, gift cards, small cash settlements, people agreeing not to make a big deal about things. The worst part was how normal everyone acted about it, like this was just how things worked. I'd bring up safety concerns and get told to focus on my own responsibilities. I quit 3 months later when I found another folder. This one had my name on it, with a photo of me looking through the manager's desk. The timestamp showed it was taken the night I found those first folders. I still drive past Sunset Lanes sometimes. It's still open, still has that same night shift position posted online, but I never see the same person working there twice. It makes you think about what really happens in places like that when nobody's supposed to be watching. Some things aren't worth the extra money, you know? My name is Eli Ramos. I bowled with a small Thursday league in Akron, Ohio. We met at Blue Pin Lanes. It was the kind of place where the owner knew your kid's name and you left your keys in a drawer. I am not a writer. This is how it went. The night it started, I parked next to a white van. The alley smelled like old pizza and oil. I forgot to feed my cat that day and the floorboards at home creak when she runs, so I was already distracted. We played. People joked. The team had a man named Tommy Ruiz who worked nights at a warehouse. He always smelled of cheap coffee. He brought his little boy, Noah. Noah sat on a stool and watched. At one point, Tommy said, "Can you watch him for 20 minutes? I got to run to my truck." He looked nervous. I said, "Okay." I thought nothing bad would happen. Noah asked about the lights and the pins. He chewed a red candy and hummed a tune. I remember his feet swinging. Then later I watched the alley security footage. It shows a figure picking Noah up in the foyer. Then the image goes to static for 17 minutes. When the picture comes back, Noah is gone. A delivery van is in the lot that was not there before. Police came and asked the usual questions. They treated it like a routine missing child case. I listened to them and felt the hairs on my neck. Later at the shop, I overheard someone say, "We don't want league trouble." That small line sat in my head like a stone. It felt like people choosing quiet over truth. Small things began to pile up. The lane manager, Marla, hugged me and kept rubbing her thumb along the seam of her jacket. The shoe guy, Ben, avoided eye contact. The owner said they would cooperate. Tommy came back like it was a normal week. He sat eating fries, asked about scores. He acted like nothing happened. I could not tell if he was hiding or scared. I started to count favors and loans and rides. Who owed who? Who had keys? People who smiled before looked like ledgers. I drove past the warehouse at night and lights burned like a heartbeat. I called Noah's mother once. Her voice sounded thin. She said, "We don't want to make waves." She did not cry. She sounded like someone who had learned to be small. Once, someone left a coffee cup on my car. The ring of it left a faint mark on the paint. I called the cops again. They said reasons and forms. They told me to wait. I watched the footage in my head until sleep slipped away. I kept seeing hands and the outline of a coat. No face. Just motion. I still go to the alley sometimes. The chairs feel closer. People talk about work, kids, scores. I laugh, because it is easier than asking questions. When I leave, I look at the lot and count cars. I check for vans. I listen for static in my head. Sometimes I wonder if silence was a favor or a fear. I cannot tell if Tommy was a liar or a frightened motherfucker. Either way, Noah never came home. I still remember. This happened back when I was living in Phoenix. I'm telling you this because I still think about it sometimes, and it messes with me even now. I used to bowl at this place called Desert Lanes every Saturday night. They had these midnight sessions that went until like 3 a.m. The music was loud, but it felt safe. Just a bunch of regular people who couldn't sleep or worked weird shifts. I've been going there for maybe 3 years. My neighbor's dog kept barking that whole week, which was annoying because I needed sleep before my shifts at the warehouse. Anyway, that's not important. Things started getting weird around October. People began talking in hushed voices about someone bringing a knife in their bowling bag. At first I thought it was just rumors. You know how people talk. But then this guy named Rico got arrested after throwing a punch that broke someone's nose. The cops found brass knuckles on him. That should have been my first warning to stop going. But I kept going because bowling was my thing. My dad taught me when I was 8, and it helped me relax after long days. Plus, the nachos there were actually pretty good. Then this other group started showing up on our same nights. They weren't there to bowl. They'd rent shoes but just sit around lane 12, talking quietly and staring at people. The friendly jokes between regulars turned into sharp comments. People started whispering threats when they thought others weren't listening. I remember thinking my car needed an oil change that week. Random stuff like that stays in your head, you know. The night it happened was in November, cold as hell outside. I was on lane 7 with my usual ball when a fight broke out near the snack counter. These two groups just went at each other, chairs flying, people screaming. Then somebody got shoved hard, really hard. This person, I couldn't tell if it was a man or woman, went tumbling backward right into the ball return machinery. Just disappeared under it with this horrible grinding sound. Everyone froze for a second. Then people started moving fast. Too fast. They were grabbing bowling balls and shoving them back into the return system. The loud clacking sounds got muffled by everyone's panicked footsteps. People were pushing balls down there like they were trying to cover something up. I just stood there watching this shit happen. Management came running out, yelling about equipment problems. They shut down that lane immediately. Said it was a mechanical failure. Everyone got kicked out within 10 minutes. But here's what I can't forget. The next week, I went back because I'm an idiot. I looked under lane 12's ball return when nobody was watching. There was a piece of torn fabric caught on the metal underneath, red flannel or something. And inside the return area, there was this dark stain that wasn't oil. Desert Lanes cancelled the midnight sessions 2 weeks later, said it was for maintenance. The regular crowd just scattered to other places. I never found out what really happened to whoever went under that machinery. Nobody talks about it. But every time I hear bowling balls rolling down a lane, I think about that grinding sound and wonder if they ever really cleaned out lane 12.